Hi guys, you're welcome back to the Lily and Nina show, and it's just Nina here today, and I'm going to be doing a recap of the Bachelorette season 17, Katie Thurston season, episode 9. The long-awaited episode they've been teasing all season long, teasing it out, and now we've finally come to it. And this episode is all about Greg. So let's just quickly go over what happened on Blake's hometown date and Justin's hometown date. First and foremost, Blake had a wonderful date with Katie. He invited his mom and his sister over, and they had a very good talk with Katie. And it felt like, there was something there. His family could see it, that there was really something strong between Blake and Katie. So that was all good. But he ended up not saying he was falling in love with her. He held back. He really wanted to. Even his mom was like, man the F up and tell this girl that you love her, so you don't regret anything at the end of the day. But he never said anything. He didn't man up. Oh well, we're then off to Justin's hometown date. And oh my goodness, for the first time I think I have seen, you guys can correct me down in the comments below, but I think for the first time I have seen one of the contestants' parents saying, no, we're not coming. He was on the phone to his parents, inviting them over. He was quite disappointed that they were not going to come on the show and meet his, girlfriend, would-be wife. His parents are just so refreshing for this show, because they were like, nah, you can't go on a show thinking you're going to find your wife. We're not in support. It's quite refreshing to see, and actually reasonable for the most part, because if we look at the record for the success on this show, it's really low, really low. I think the Bachelorette overall fares better than the Bachelor, but overall, the whole Bachelor franchise, the success rates are low. So, his parents are reasonable. But he does invite two of his best friends over to meet with Katie, and they have a very good time. His friends were like, oh, he's too reserved and he's really guarded. Tell us something we don't know already, friend. Tell us something we don't know. And then at some point, one of his friends was like, have you both declared your feelings for each other? To which he replied, no. And his friend is like, you still have 2 weeks. And I just felt like looking at his friend's face, it was sarcastic. He was really sarcastic. It's like, you've got 2 weeks, and you don't know if you're in love and you're going to be proposing to this woman. Try again, mister. Try again. And then he was like, oh, your heart lies with Katie, right? And he's like, yes. But I'm like, nah, I don't see it at all. He says he's falling in love, but I don't see it. He even goes as far as to tell Katie he's falling in love, but I don't see it. But anyways, now we go on to Greg. It seemed like during the daytime portion of the date between Blake and Katie, that Greg did catch glimpses of them on their dates and caught them, I think, making out. And he began to unravel slowly. I could see it on his face as soon as he went on his own hometown date and Katie met up with him. I could really see it on his face that this guy is slowly unraveling. So I don't know why it's a shock to Bachelor Nation when we finally saw what we saw at the end. But anyways, they went on their own day, they had a good time, and finally he was able to introduce Katie to his family. Some family members couldn't make it, and they made this really nice video that had him tearing up. I was actually tearing up. But then I began to see that Katie was not really showing as much emotion as I would have liked her to. For someone that I would assume you'd be falling in love with, I really didn't get much from her. So I was beginning to observe a few of these things even before what happened. So anyways, at some point, of course, they go talk to the parents, they separate them and they talk, privately with family members. And that was done. The family loved her. It was nice to see that the family was in support of their relationship and said Greg never looked happier. That was heartwarming to see. But then Greg opened up his heart to her. He poured his heart to her completely, telling her he's head over heels in love with her. And all Katie could say was, I love looking at your face. And you could really see at that instant that Greg there was a switch in his head that just went off. I'm telling you, went all the way off. And from that moment on, things was not the same. Things weren't the same from that moment on, honestly. And then you could see him asking her, why are you not saying anything? I'm doing everything. I need to hear something from you. I need to get something back from you. You're not saying anything. I've poured my heart out to you. It feels like, you're not here. You're not present. And Katie was just like, trust in me, trust in me, trust in me. And that very date ended. The hometown date ended. And so the next day, Greg went up to see Katie. And I really do think at this point, he had made up his mind on what he wanted to do. Looking at him, I think he knew he wanted out, even before Katie could just summarize what was going on. So anyways, before I digress, he went into her apartment and they started talking, and he was like, it really was as if Katie wasn't present, that even after he poured all his heart to her, she couldn't say anything. She was just blank. She just kind of brushed it off, and he didn't feel good. He felt really hurt. So he was trying to communicate that to her, and she was also very apologetic. She apologized. She said she really didn't know in that moment, that she's really trying not to say to anyone that she loves them until the very end, which is understandable. But I really do think that on a show like this, if you find your person, just like in Claire's season, Claire found her person, just tell them. There is no need to just go by the book, because you never know what you'll be missing out on at the end of the day. And maybe you're kind of holding out, and then you find out that the other people, the other contestants are not the one for you at the end of the day, and you've lost that person that is for you. So I really do think at this point, Katie should have just removed her Bachelorette hat and just say it if you feel it, just say it. And she didn't. And that really broke Greg's heart, because I think at that point, Greg knew that I'm not going to be picked. I think she has someone else here who she has a stronger connection with. And it definitely in his head, I'm sure, like, I know I'm not in his head, but I'm 100% sure, that's my own opinion, that Greg was thinking, I think she's going to choose Blake. And so he was kind of looking for a way out. That's why I said, I think he made up his mind from the very beginning when he left their own quarters to meet up with Katie in her apartment. I think he really did make up his mind at that point that he was going to be bouncing and saying goodbye. That whole segment was incredibly hard to watch, guys. It was really, really hard to watch, because it was just like it was happening to me. Like, I was there. Like, I really do feel Greg and I really do feel Katie. I know online one camp is like Team Greg and another is Team Katie, but really, I'm not for either at all. Katie girl, I love you, but I'm gonna stay neutral on this one, and I'll tell you guys why. I do believe that in some parts that Greg was maybe unintentionally emotionally manipulative. I really do think so. I remember the portion where she sat down on the floor, groveling at his knee, and he couldn't even pick her up, hug her and say, okay, so let's talk. Like, he wants this relationship to work. Like, I love you, I don't want to lose you. But no, it was so easy for him to give up, and he didn't even receive her apologies. That was really sad. So I really do believe that in that part and in some other parts, he was unintentionally, maybe, emotionally manipulative towards Katie. I think he had made up his mind already, and nothing Katie would have said would have had any impact, really. As for Katie, it seemed like she was not necessarily answering his questions when he was asking. He wanted to know where she was at. I mean, if you're wanting someone to propose to you in, I think, less than a week or two, then you should actually answer them. You should answer their questions directly. Are you feeling the same way or not? I know you have this rule that you want to live by, but you have to damn the rules and just follow your heart. But she was just trying to deflect. She was kind of cold. I didn't really see that warmth that you would want to see from someone that you want to marry. So I really do think that two of them got some things wrong. It was sad to watch, incredibly sad to watch. I was tearing up throughout because it was like it was happening to me. I could empathize with them. So I think this is a case of a loss for both of them. I don't think we should go castigating Greg or Katie. I don't think that the camps should be going at each other like this, as I'm seeing online, on Instagram, on Twitter. I really don't think so. I think we should extend empathy to the both of them and kind of understand where each of them were coming from, because Greg was hurt, rightfully so, and Katie at the end of the day was finally hurt, and rightfully so. So they both hurt each other. Okay, so there is nothing like gaslighting. I'm seeing all manner of things online. Greg gaslighted Katie, and then they're saying, Katie gaslighted Greg. I just think that is some BS. So guys, that's my own take on the episode. I think it ended on a very sad note, and let's see what happens next, because it looks like they're teasing a very, very unconventional finale. So let's see what's going to happen at the finale, and I can't wait to come back here and do a final take on Katie's season next week. So guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure you like this video and comment down below your thoughts. What did you think overall of this episode? What did you think of Greg and Katie breaking up? Please, we always love to hear your thoughts, and we want to discuss with you in the comments down below. Till next time, guys, Nina out.